Igniter is what I like to call myself. I love to help people understand the greatness that God placed within them so that they can be influential in the lives of other people. I met Ramunda, and then there was just something about her. It really, really was that just really connected with me. And it was her desire to see women thrive, literally, not just as a branding mechanism for her company, but in her heart, really wanting to see women thrive. And that is really what drew me in to want to be a part of it. My first topic when I spoke in 2022 was unleashing the power of your brilliance, to understand that, you are a light, you were meant to shine. God has given you such glory as his daughters, and it's meant to be seen. And so that was really, really important to me to be able to share that message, just understanding that you're not a mistake. You're here on purpose. You were created in purpose. And so you need to walk out that purpose. And part of that purpose is allowing yourself to be heard. Personally, it gives me gratification to be able to share the wisdom and the experience that I've walked through to help others achieve where they're going. I'm at a stage in life where it's very difficult to separate professional with personal because they become one for me. Professionally, I desire to speak and to go out and to change lives, because personally, I believe that's why I'm still alive. That's why I'm still here. What stands out more than anything is being a part of her book, being a part of the Woman Thrive book, because we've had such feedback from that of lives being transformed and changed. It has just been transformational to even share part of my own story in the book that I had never talked about before. And I do that intentionally so that I can help others through their struggles and the things that they're walking through. The biggest thing that stands out, in my opinion, is Ramunda. Seriously. She is a woman of such passion when it comes to seeing other women excel that she doesn't even realize her own greatness. She just does what comes naturally to her. But she has such a heart to see the growth of other women that it really just oozes out of her. And so I would advise anybody, if you have the opportunity to work with this phenomenal human being, because that's exactly what she is. If you have the opportunity to do that, take it. Your life will be changed, I promise you, because she is going to make sure that you realize the voice that you have and the importance of you using that voice. If it's the first time you've ever used it, or if you're like me and you've used it for years, there's still a depth that she will take you to that will help you to increase and expand who you are as a person. So don't miss the opportunity.
Thank you to our team. And what a beautiful testimonial. I got to meet the lovely Dr. Coilette in Miami just a few weeks ago, and it was just such a magical experience to be able to not only work with our amazing authors and speakers from all around the world, but also to get to see them in person through our in-person events. So Coilette was the author of our Volume 1 Women Thrive book, which is displayed on screen right now, which is an absolute beautiful collection of stories of women overcoming adversity. We have published Volume 2 and Volume 3 that just come out in Spanish. I'm just due to receive those in the post today. And these are stories of women from all around the world sharing stories of overcoming adversity. And our latest best-selling Volume 4 that has just hit all the stores online and Amazon, so you can grab yourself a copy. Now, we do have opportunity for you to be part of our authorship opportunity. So if you are looking to write a book, share your story in a book, and become an author, please reach out at womenthrivemedia.com and let us know. Contact at womenthrivemedia.com. Let us know if you want to become an author and be part of our next volume, which is going to be published in October this year. Such an amazing collection of books and women with their inspirational stories of overcoming adversity. So you're super welcome to reach out and let us know. Now, my next speaker, who's Helena Sue, and I'm looking forward to hearing from her about her story today as well. Helen, how are you today?
Hi, Raimonda. Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for
Where are you
having
joining
me.
us
Hi,
from?
everyone. I'm in the UK. I'm in the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire, one of the
Lovely.
shires of England. It's nice and rainy today, so that's why it's so
I,
green.
I guess you're not dancing outside today then.
I'm not. No, I haven't quite acclimatized that much, I have to say.
I love it. Helen, I have a little bit of feedback in the background, so if you may just put the volume down just a tiny bit on your end.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll put my
And
phone. Okay.
I will read your bio if that's okay, just to introduce Helen Sue, who is a founder of Neo Dance, helping heart centered visionaries, leaders, and healers come home to their true self, who they were born to be, own their brilliance, and show up with the passion through embodied transformational and somatic dance. She has given talks and workshops for over 20 years now on how movement and dance can help us access our creativity and create deeper connection with ourselves and others, so then we can show up with passion, shine our light in the world. Ellen, I am excited to have your talk next. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I've got a question for you. What do you most fear? Is it going to pay for a meal with a colleague and then perhaps someone important you're having a meeting with and then realizing you've forgotten to bring your wallet? Is it getting onto stage and then realizing you've forgotten everything you were going to say because you're so afraid? What about getting up and be the first person to dance at your friend's birthday party and everyone sat around drinking? Maybe some of you are laughing. Well, that's fine. I'll just have a drink, get up and have a boogie. Some of you will be like, oh my God, I couldn't possibly do something like that. How embarrassing. What's that all about? Being able to just be in a relaxed environment, get up, move, shake your body. What is it about being in our whole bodies and showing ourselves in that way that's so frightening? We feel vulnerable, right? Because when we're in our bodies, there's actually nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. Yes, you can wear a mask, you can wear a big costume and hide behind that. But however you're feeling, whatever's going on for you, it's very hard to really hide it. And we sense it in other people. We sense energetically how they are, their mood. Even if we don't know someone very well, we can get a sense of them. We can get a sense of their energy and their demeanor, whether they are a warm person by how they hold themselves, by whether their heart feels open and welcoming, like going to meet the Dalai Lama or hugging Amma in India, someone who's closed. We feel that. We literally can't walk too close to them. And that's what dropping into our bodies can do. It can connect us directly to who we really are. Now, talk therapists, for example, have their place. You can really bash out a lot of ideas, and actually, our whole modern lifestyle is all about being from the neck up, working on all our ideas and stuff. But you can know something so well, you can cite every line of some of the most seminal books. It doesn't mean that you've actually taken on board, experienced and embodied the actual theories and the processes and the systems of how something is, so that you can truly transform. You can receive lots of Reiki treatments. I'm a Reiki master, but if you're not open to receiving it, if you're sort of a non-believer, if you're blocking the energy, you're blocking it, you're not going to heal. And so when we can have the courage to drop fully into our bodies and access what's really going on for us and confronting ourselves, that's when real healing can take place. That's when transformation can truly take place. And that's when we can feel empowered and inspired. And hey, I'm no shining beacon example. I'm a work in progress, because we all are. We're humans. It's not a cut and dried process. It's a continual process. But if you can drop into your bodies to experience and move through whatever it is that's blocking you, it could be emotional, it could be a logistical problem, whatever it is. That's why even going for a walk helps. If you can move through that, then shifts can take place, and those shifts are much deeper. So of course we know, for example, we can take medication and it might help us feel better on a surface level, but real shift and transformation comes from within. And when we move, and when we consciously move, which is why I developed Neo Dance. And very briefly, my story is that actually I was extremely shy as a child. I did ballet, then I thought I wasn't good enough, and then I was out in the big wide world and I was traveling, and I still hadn't really connected to who I really was. I didn't know who I was, and I had to find that through movement. I would go onto the dance floor and I would go through so many levels of experiencing, and I still do. And it's kind of been my best friend and support. Sitting meditation has its place, but moving meditation is a different resonance, and it can take you to different places, because when you really embody all the things that you want to be and to do, that be, do, have thing, be it, really be it, means embodying it. And I hope I've got my little message across today. Always I will advocate vitamin D, because it's the most direct way to source. It's beyond the mind chatter to connect to your source, and to connect, in fact, to universal source. Because when we connect into ourselves energetically, we know we're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are such an infinite human beings with power and grace and ability not only to influence ourselves but also others. And I think through dance, movement, healing, and energetic work, we can really elevate ourselves. So that was just really, really beautiful. What's one of your favorite daily practices that you would recommend for anyone?
Well, it's quite interesting. I do, although I do love a sitting meditation first thing in the morning before moving sometimes. I do love that. Sometimes it's good to move first. I'm not an advocate of you have to do things rigidly. Sometimes I like to move first. Sometimes I like to sit and meditate first. It's a different practice, and they both complement each other. So I would say both meditation with a capital M, however works for you, I suppose,
Yeah,
and however one works. So I try to make it a daily practice. There are days when I don't do it, but generally, yeah.
of course. And what can people expect during the Women Thrive Summit during your talk?
Mm, some insights, some experiential insights if you join in, some scientific facts that you might not have realized. You might get a few stories from me, from my travels and experiences, to illustrate. And so it will definitely be a bit, what's the word, eclectic. It won't be your regular kind of talk, and you don't have to turn up in your suit. You have to you can take your shoes off and let your hair down, basically.
Exactly. And since it's a virtual look, you can only be dressed up
Exactly.
just halfway up, right?
Exactly. I might help you to connect to something within you that you haven't done yet. Yes, it's possible. In however long my talk is, half an hour, 45 minutes, it's possible.
Yeah,
So come along and see for yourself.
amazing. Really look forward to that. Ellen, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you at the Women Thrive Summit. And of course, your information is right on the screen if you
Yes,
wanted
it's
to
all there.
connect with
Yes.
Helena. Oh, sorry. Well, thank you so much to our speakers. We've got a few more ladies to go. And if you're joining us just now, make sure you tap in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. Who are you connecting with? Have you signed up for the Women Thrive Summit? And if you haven't, go ahead to womentthrivesummit.com and register for your free spot. This is our annual virtual event that happens every year. So excited to see so many of you here. Amazing. So my next speaker is Danny Rosenbland. I am being terrible today with pronunciation. What's going on, Danny? Help me out.
Danny Rosenblatt James. That's me.
There you go. Honestly, my tongue is getting twisted. I must have not done my tongue twisted exercises this morning. Well, first, I'd love to introduce Danny to you, or who is an international best-selling author, speaker, and a coach. And after overcoming a traumatic brain injury, she turned her story into a source of inspiration, helping others find resilience and purpose. And as a founder of the Storyteller's Path, she guides aspiring authors to write their own books in just 6 months. And I know you're passionate about travel and adventure, and of course, healing as well. Now, Danny, I want to hand it over to you, and I'll be back for a little chit chat at the end.
Raymonda. So I'm assuming that Raymonda has gotten an idea that my story that I'm going to be telling everyone is going to be a bit different. I have been doing a lot of inner work, and I realized how passionate I am truly to help other people get their story out there. And it's because I learned that my personal story had so much meaning behind it, so much inspiration. Like, it was going to be 11 years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury where I had to relearn how to walk, how to use my brain. My equilibrium was such crap. And as I stared up at that hospital ceiling, going, now what? Getting out of all that fog, I heard this inner voice say, this is but a moment. And when I heard that, I realized I get to choose what happens next. And after a 7-year excruciating long healing process, I got to be able to have a child. And that blows some people's minds because of all the things I had to overcome to make that happen. And then from all of these podcasts that I've been on like over 30, 40. And at the beginning, I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. Then I realized that my story, it truly matters. And so I started talking about that, and I saw that the podcasters' eyes would light up. And I started realizing that, oh, my story does matter. It helps inspire people. It gives them power. It makes them realize that they can overcome things in their own lives. And the more that I did it, the more I spoke it, the more power I felt like I had, because I was owning my story. I wasn't letting it define me. I was having it as a point to move forward. And so that's why I turned it into a book, because I wanted to touch as many people and turn their lives around and give them hope, as many as possible as I could. And I knew making it into a story could possibly make that happen. And so it turned into an international best-selling book in 4 different countries and 7 categories. And I'm still stunned to this day that that has happened. And now I've created the Storyteller's Path. And in this, it's already started having multiple people in there. And when I have my one-on-one calls, I remember so much why I started doing this, because I get to see their eyes light up when they talk about their story. And just seeing that, I realize that I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing for me and for others. And on this, I've also learned that when you talk about your personal journey, when you do it and write about it, you're healing. It's just another way of doing it. Because as you're writing this story on the paper, like for me, when I did this, I was reliving through it all. And at first I was scared because I started feeling the pains in my head all over again. And I stopped. I talked to my mentor that I had at the time, and I'm like, what's happening? I'm freaking out, panicking. And she told me, remember, that's in the past. That's not you now. This is not your present. Just remember that that's something that happened in the past and become aware of it. And once you become aware of it, it can't hurt you anymore. And so finally, I started writing my story again, and it didn't come up because I stayed aware the whole time I was writing. And this is something that helped me grow as a person. And I discovered myself so much more. I learned about the techniques, the tools that I did as I was healing that I didn't even realize that I had done until I wrote it out. And this is something that I think so many people need to realize, is that, writing your story out there, getting that personal story out, can mean the world to someone else out there. There are 8 billion people in the world. There's at least one other person out there that gives a damn what you have to say or can relate with what you have to say. And you being the brave one to get your story out there truly matters for others out there. And that's a huge reason why I've started this community. And I want to help as many people as I possibly can, because everyone's story truly does matter. And everyone has a story to tell. And that's what I got to say about that.
Oh, Danny, I love that. It's like, we go through life not really realizing that we even have a story, right? Until we start sharing and it starts to impact other people. And I feel the same. Like, I always just say, like, I don't necessarily have a story. I don't know what my story is until you started sharing, and it then starts to inspire people and create ripple effect. How does it feel now knowing that there are other people who are now reading your story or listening to podcasts and kind of the feedback that you may have received?
When I hear that, like, it was actually a couple months ago that I met someone that was like, your story changed my life. And when I met her and she told me this, it's like, it just warmed my heart to the core, because hearing that what I finally had the courage to get out there changed her life, especially for the better, and realized that she could look on the better side of things. It made everything much better for me, and of course for her, because she went and pushed forward.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what drives your passion now to help others write their stories, share their stories in the world?
Yeah, it's like, for instance, so many people don't believe that they have a story to share. And that's why I'm so adamant on saying everyone has a story to share. Everyone matters. All their stories truly matter. And that's why it's like, we forget that there are so many people in the world. And every single one of us is an individual, meaning that maybe there's a story out there that's similar to something that you plan on writing, but they're not you. Their perspective on whatever they went through is completely different than yours. So that means that your story is still going to be different, even if it's like the same kind of topic. And that means that it's going to resonate with different people as well. So just with the people that I've been working with, I tell them time and time again that your story truly does matter. And you don't know who you'll be able to help with when you get it out there. Plus, you're able to help yourself by doing this, that self-discovery, that self-healing. Oh, that alone is worth making it into a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've published quite a few books and I worked with many authors. It's truly life-changing when you describe, how just writing your story, it's so healing and it's so internally transformative if you go through that process and you take that time to not only reflect through your own experiences, but learn something and then pass it on to others. It helps you grow as an individual. So I highly, highly advocate for, just exactly what you're talking about, putting your story out there, writing it, going through the process. There's so many people who can help you do that. You don't have, and I think doing it on your own is probably the worst mistake that you can make. I've tried writing books on my own, and even now I have other people who help me with it, even though I help others. It's not a project you want to go on your own. And, there are people like Danny and, other women who support that kind of endeavor, and highly recommend you connect. Danny, how do people connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me all over. So they can find Danny Rosenblad James on Facebook, Instagram, Then you can also find me Misfit Wanders, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all
I
over.
love that. Amazing. And of course, if people wanted to grab a copy of your book, what is it called?
The Wandering Heart, a tale of a misfit traveling in life's wilderness. I know, a mouthful.
I love it. I can't wait to have it in my library once I move next month. So definitely be keeping an eye out for this book as well. All right, my love. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story on our stage. Look forward to seeing you at the summit.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was Danny. Oh, so many amazing women with their unique stories, unique perspectives, and gifts to share with you, not only just today, but as an ongoing opportunity for you to connect with our speakers. Make sure you save your spot for the Women Thrive Summit. This is where you get to really experience their talks during our summit, which is our live virtual event. Now, my next lovely speaker is Grisha Andrea Steigler, who is an orgasm coach, a trauma and transgenerational healing specialist, and the founder of Conscious Women Academy. With her unique holistic Empress O method, she empowers women to break free from limitations of their past, rewrite their old stories, and unleash their full potential to create a life that they truly desire. Grisha, so good to see you. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm so touched by the stories of other ladies. I'm here since the beginning, and so much inspiration, and also the diversity of the stories and their history, what they could bring more aliveness, more joy, and more abundance in our life.
Yeah, and I feel like today has been a bit of a theme of kind of pushing the envelope, getting out of your comfort zone, seeing beyond our limitations. So I'm really excited to see what your topic is going to be about today, Grisha.
Yeah, today I'm going to talk about how we can reclaim pleasure. And in the time of transition, when we are grieving, when we are in a healing process, when we are transforming, because I think this is really important, because pleasure in any forms, which makes us smile, then it's our powerhouse to really step forward.
And, I find that it's also really powerful, creative source of energy.
Yes.
So I'll hand it over to you. I'm not an expert in this, but that's what I found in my experience. So I can't wait to come back and have a conversation about this at the end. So over to you.
Thank you. So when it feels heavy, when we are moving through grief, deep transformation, or healing, pleasure is always or often feels like lasting thing or last thing which we are thinking about, or we have time for this energy. And the word tells us that pleasure is something we need to earn, or we need to work hard for that. And what if I'm saying that pleasure isn't the reward at the end of the journey? What if there is a very thing that carries us through it and helps us to really go through in deep and painful moments? A few years ago, when I was in a deep season of transition, I was grieving, and not just because I lost my dad, but also parts of myself I had to let go. And old version of me were crumbling, and I felt like I was walking through fog, and I was exhausted, I was disconnected, and I was overwhelmed, even though I had an amazing connection with my body. And those moments, pleasure felt like irrelevant, almost inappropriate. But here's what I discovered: pleasure is just not for the easy and joyful moments in life. It's an essential when we are navigating the hardest ones. And I remember there was a specific evening when my body was so heavy in sadness, and my mind wouldn't stop spinning around. But instead of forcing myself to be productive, to pushing myself, pushing my emotions away, then there was a very small voice in my head that I can choose something different. I light a candle, I put the soft music on, and I allowed myself to just be. Not fixing anything, not forcing anything, just feeling, just be there without agenda. And something shifted in that moment. And the warmth of the candle, the melody of the music, the simple just slowing down created a space for me to breathe again. And I wasn't happy in the traditional way of this sense of happiness, but I felt something I can call like aliveness. And at that moment, it was absolutely enough. So I really want to share that pleasure, it's not about ignoring pain, the emotions, or what's happening with us. It's not pretending things that it's okay, everything is okay when they are not. But when we are in this experience of loss, transition, and inner transformation, which is, I think, this is also time and very intense energies are coming that we need to go deep. And sometimes we often shut down our senses as a way of protecting ourselves. And when we lose the connection to our senses and lose the connection at the same time with ourselves, pleasure can reawaken this connection. And in this world, when it's always depending more from us, more productivity, more responsibility, more resilience, more everything, pleasure could be a radical self-love and self-care act. And it brings us back to our present moment and where healing truly could happen. And the beautiful thing is, and then I'm calling pleasure is not in a sense of sexual pleasure. It's what I just said, that what makes you smile, and with what you feel that I can breathe, I feel okay. And it's not just it doesn't require any grand gesture, like you don't need to book a luxury retreat or escape for a tropical island, of course, unless you want to. But pleasure could be also a simplest and most ordinary moment, what I just shared, like activating your senses with small rituals, or giving yourself permission to receive pleasure, to receive joy, like having a bath, or just drinking your morning coffee with no distraction, or just walking 5 minutes and just looking around, and then really see and feel and smell what is around you. And you can also create a daily pleasure practice or ritual, like few minutes. Then when you can just listen music, you can also dance, you can do any creative things, what makes you feel like yeah, like this, that I can breathe. And so as a closing takeaway or message, that pleasure isn't a luxury. You don't need to done anything. You don't need to do anything. It could be also a survival tool for navigating grief, healing, or transformation, and could help you in the transition. And you can reconnect with your source. This is a really, really powerful source house, what you can reconnect. And only small and intentional rituals can bring pleasure into your everyday life.
Oh, Garisha, this was so beautiful and such a beautiful reminder that pleasure comes in so many different shapes and sizes and forms, right? And I think we as women get so caught up in wearing all the different hats, being a mom, being a boss, being, the housewife, and so many other things that we also are responsible for. And sometimes we just leave ourselves the last on the list.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
We need not immediately go to the other side that, okay, now I want to be on the first one, but kind of like if you are on the last one, then step by step, create more and more time, just one more breath, even just for a few minutes, because we need to also fulfill our other responsibilities. But step by step, you can absolutely create. This is how I started 21 years ago. Just creating harmony within 2 months, within 1 month, within 1 week, and then also within one day to find what makes me happy. And if I have break for few minutes, then I'm just asking myself that what I really need right now, and maybe just a breath, maybe just doing nothing, maybe just be, because most of the time we are doing and giving, and we need to bring back to our focus to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so powerful. Even just, this week I'm making myself a cup of tea and putting my feet up to just open a magazine and have a read. Just those little moments like, oh, this is a time for me to do something that I really enjoy. And it just floods you with just beautiful emotions and just happiness, even though we are busy. And as you say, even especially in the moments, I guess, of grief, and which you know very well right now, going through your own life challenges,
Yes.
that life will always throw a curveball. Life will always bring the next challenge. And if you're not doing that, right, if you're not carving the time out, you could be just, really sucked into the sad emotions and difficult moments and forget about taking care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we have a
What
choice, always have a choice.
Yeah, yeah. What can people expect during the Women Thrive Summit from your talk?
Yeah, I will talk about shameless pleasure, because there are so many shame around pleasure, and how we can radiate confidence wherever you are going, wherever we are, and connecting with this really, really powerful and infinite power, what we can create without guilt, shame, and any conditioning.
Yeah, I love that. Guilt-free pleasure. We don't need to feel that. And I feel such a beautiful energy that comes from you, just that pure happiness and joy. And do you think that's part of the practices that you have in your mindset around pleasure and other things?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you just mentioned, I'm going through really, really deep processes, and I'm allowing this heaviness and pain and sorrow and anger. But after that, I'm turning into that, okay, now I'm using this power into how I can create more, how I can create deeper and new things.
I know just yesterday, I think you shared that you just sat down and you wrote, channeled, and like to me, it sounds like a complete book. You're like, oh, just a work, a
Exactly.
couple hundred pages. I'm like, what? How did you channel that?
What I felt, that I just mentioned, my father died 4.5 years ago, and somehow dance was just disappeared from my life. And as I was doing my own inner work, somehow it just came back, and this creative energy, I don't know. I don't know, within, out of time, linear timeline, I could just kind of like just what came out through me, and it was so beautiful, and I feel much more energized, of course, in a higher level or dimension where I was 4 or 5 years ago. And it's such a blessing what could come through me. And when we are healing our ancestral and past traumas, abuse, and heaviness, then we can absolutely uh, release so much energy. What we had, just it was suppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm really excited to have you part of the summit this year. It's a topic that we have never covered before, as far as going into our pleasure and also creating as a source of energy and inspiration, and shedding shame and guilt around it, which I think a lot of women have been conditioned to feel that way. So I'm very excited to see you, Gersha. Where do people connect with you in the meantime before the summit?
Yeah, with Girish Andrea, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you can find me.
Amazing. I look forward to seeing you very soon at the Women Thrive Summit. And thank you so much for showing up today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. This has been such a wonderful event so far. We've got two more amazing speakers lining up. I think we're going to switch some things up and go even deeper into our energy work. My next speaker coming up shortly is Charlie. So Charlie Graham, who is a visibility strategist for spiritual visionaries, using human design system to empower you to be seen and sought after. She's an intuitive yet practical coach who uses systems to uncover your personal map of success in visibility and business through guiding you to swim with the flow of your design, not against it, unleashing your inner weird and wonderful selves. Charlie, welcome. Good to see you.
Hi, Ramonda. I can't wait to talk. I'm so excited. This is actually my very first showcase.
Oh, amazing. Well, that's why I brought you on before. I know it was a bit of a shuffle between different speakers, but Charlie, I'm really excited. Please, just a quick note to try and avoid touching the microphone or the table where it stands to make sure we got a great sound. But Charlie, I want to hand it over to you and I'll be back to have a chat with you at the end.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ramonda. So hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today. And I actually want to start with asking you a question. Have you ever held yourself back from sharing your gifts, your genius, your magic, because you are actually too afraid of what other people might think? We've all been right. I've definitely been there. So I remember when I first started to really share my work online as a marketing and business coach, I had this little Instagram account, which was kind of like my private corner of the internet, where I would post about things like intuition and spirituality and consciousness and mindset. And I was so scared of what other people might think that actually my friends and family were not allowed to see what I was up to. I would kind of like hide away from them. Sometimes I would block them. And I wouldn't actually share this side of me anywhere else online. I wouldn't share it face to face or online on Facebook, etc. It was only that one little place. And even though I had this like little tiny Instagram account, I still, every time I hit post on something, I was still worried about what other people were going to think of me, even complete strangers. And I started having this narrative where I would think, well, if I'm going to post this, other people are going to look at me and go, what on earth is that girl talking about now? And it's really funny because the more that we dive deeper into spirituality, into our intuition and our gifts and consciousness, etc., the more weird we actually feel. And the more weird we feel, the more that we feel we won't be accepted by society. So what do? We kind of shrink ourselves down, we move away from it. And when we hide, this is the kicker, right? When we hide, we deny the people that we are here to serve. We deny our soul contracts. So I want to just talk a little bit about the word weird here. I actually help intuitives to stop hiding, own their own gifts, show up fully without the fear, without over explaining the how, like what they do, the how of what they do, and actually without burning themselves out trying not to seem too weird, right? So the word weird, it actually comes from an old English word, W-Y-R-D. That's how it used to be spelled. And it actually used to mean destiny or fate. Centuries ago, women who were really deeply connected to nature, to spiritual wisdom, were actually called weird, but not because they were strange, because they were actually very empowering women. And somewhere along the way, society turned that power into something to be feared. And through generational trauma, we have learned to shrink ourselves, to believe that our gifts are actually too much for the world, to doubt what we know to actually be true in our hearts. So what actually changed for me? Like, how can I now stand up on stages and talk and, be actually quite visible in my life and in my business? Well, in 2020, I found something that completely changed my life, and that was the human design system. If you haven't heard of it yet, it is a personality test for your soul. And unfortunately, I don't have time to go in depth about what it is now in this little talk. But what it helped me to do was it helped me to give myself a roadmap of my personal energy, my unique energy. It showed me who I was. It showed me who I wasn't, which is really important because that's where all the conditioning comes in, and also who I had the potential to be. And it was through using the human design system and actually embodying my design rather than just learning it intellectually that I started recognizing myself. I recognized my psychic abilities, my intuition, and I actually started to realize that human design was my system, and it was the thing that was going to help out not only myself, but other people as well. And the moment I started, to really recognize myself, something shifted. Other people started recognizing me as well, the right people, the ones who resonated with me, the ones who were looking for exactly what I had to offer. So imagine realizing truly, madly, deeply, yes, I just said that, how powerful you actually are, and actually sharing it with confidence and not, holding yourself back in any way. Because when you step into that energy, something really amazing happens. You stop wasting time convincing skeptics. Oh God, how many times did I do that? You stop over-explaining, like how you do things. You stop worrying about what other people think of you. And instead, you attract the people who already feel, keyword there, feel the truth of what you do. Your message starts to flow, your visibility stops feeling like a struggle, and it actually starts feeling like it's right. It starts feeling like it's alignment. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. The world does not need another Instagram influencer. It also doesn't need another social media account just filling up that digital landfill with mediocre content. What the world does need is it needs real leaders who are not afraid to be seen. So my question for you is this: are you ready to recognize yourself? Because when you do, the people that need you the most, they won't just see you, they will find you. Thank you.
Love that. Well, congratulations, Charlie. This was such a powerful reminder. We did start off today about I was encouraging women to step into their visibility and their spotlight. And I think you really beautifully wrapped that message up in with a little bow tie and just delivered it perfectly to our audience today.
Amazing.
Charlie, you shared something in one of our calls pretty recently, and you said something. Suddenly, things are just working. People and opportunities are starting to find you. Momentum is just starting to happen. And I was like, that is amazing. And I asked you questions like, what has contributed to it? And I want to hear from you again. I know things are just moving at a speed of light for you right now. Why do you think that is happening?
Well, it's funny because, this is kind of the basis of my talk today. It's recognizing yourself. Because when you recognize yourself and you deeply embody like who you are, that's when other people recognize you as well. And it's really funny in business. It's like, how are all these people coming to me? And you don't know the how. You never know the how in some way, because actually it's the universe putting you together with people. And yeah, I can't tell you how, but all I can tell you is that it's the embodiment of your true self. And I just happen to have done that through the human design system.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the reason why I asked that is because it's a real testimony of what you're sharing today. You've gone from overthinking the sharing of posts and showing up and how you're showing up to really embodying. And now suddenly, I know it's been kind of in the works for some time, but at some point it clicks in and you no longer really care about people's judgment. You just show up as yourself. And that's ultimately what I aspire for people to be, or where to be. Just be really unapologetically happy and empowered in themselves, in their visibility.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I want to help people to do.
Yeah. What is your talk going to be about at the Women Thrive Summit?
Well, it's more of the same. It's more, amazingness, really, because it's all about being weird and wonderful, and about how you can really tap into and open up that weirdness that you have, because that uniqueness is the key to your business success. The more that you are weird and wonderful, the more that you will attract the right people towards you.
Amazing. Charlie, I love your background. I'm going to take a little picture together before we go on to our next speaker. Look, it's been amazing to have you here. If you feel connected, please make sure you find Charlie Graham on different social media channels. It's been a wonderful conversation with you today, and I look forward to having you on our summit.
Thanks, Ramonda.
Thank you. Great to see you. And congrats on your first showcase. Wow. Such a beautiful turnaround since we started this event to where our conversations have led to throughout the day. Now, I have my last speaker, last but not least, and this is just a reminder. This is just a snippet of what you're going to experience at the Women Thrive Summit in March, which is the third week of March, virtual global annual event from Women Thrives, featuring over 50 amazing speakers from all around the world, talking on various subjects, as you get to hear today, from health to wellness, spirituality, growth, self-empowerment, confidence, visibility, business. You name it. It is going to be an event not to be missed. Head over to womenthrivesummit.com and save your spot. And my next speaker is Clodagh. I am so excited. Lots of ladies from the UK today, but we will be back later on today with more international women. Clodagh, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am great. Thank you.
Where are you joining from?
I am joining from the UK. Yes, I'm north of London.
North of London. Amazing. Yeah. Clodagh, I know you've been behind the scenes watching today's event as well and soaking up all the inspiration, but we get to hear from you as a closing speaker for today. So before you begin, I want to do a quick introduction to our audience who may not know you today. So Clodagh is a transformational leader, speaker, and the founder of Quantum Heart Academy, where she empowers heart-led leaders to break through the inner barriers, achieve heart-centered success, and step into intuitive leadership and magnetic presence. Through her groundbreaking quantum heart activation process, she integrates cutting-edge quantum science to create flow states and unlock limitless potential in life and also business. Clodagh, I'm really excited to know we're going into the magical world of quantum. So really excited. Can I hand it over to you, and I'll be back to have a chat at the end.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And really what I thought about today was talking on a very key topic of our times. Really let's talk about resilience. And this segged so perfectly because obviously at the start of this beautiful showcase, we had Nikki, who mentioned storms happening, navigating her tech, difficulties, and also she shared her incredible story of resilience. So let me start by asking you a question. When life throws chaos your way, what do? Do you freeze? Do you fight harder? Or do you trust your intuition? Do you freeze? Do you fight harder? Or do you trust your intuition? Because what if I told you that uncertainty itself isn't the enemy? What if it's actually your greatest opportunity to grow and to lead and to thrive? Now, you don't need me to tell you that we're living in wild times, global shifts, economic uncertainty, the heartbreak of living through some of the things that we are seeing today, as well as our own personal challenges. It is a lot. It's a lot to navigate. And this is why I wanted to talk about this today. And yet, some women rise, not just to survive, but to lead with heart, create impact, and inspire change. In chaos, they become anchors of hope. So what's their secret? Because it's not about having the perfect plan or being the strongest person in the room. I would argue it's about being anchored in the wisdom of the heart. And I'd like to take you back to a moment in my life when I was anything but anchored. I was overwhelmed, I was burnt out, I was questioning pretty much every choice I'd made because I'd seemed to do everything right. I'd followed the plans, chased success, I'd had success. But inside, I felt completely disconnected. And my mind really was pushing me in one direction, and my heart, it was quietly whispering something different. And for the longest time, I ignored it. Until the life I'd been so conscientiously building collapsed around me. And I finally listened. Now, I leaned into my heart's wisdom, and that single choice changed everything. And I really found my passion, coaching, speaking, writing, leading my own transformational spaces. And today, I really help women navigate their own crossroads and step into their leadership, especially in these unpredictable times. So to go back to the truth, uncertainty isn't what breaks us. We all have to deal with that. Life is uncertain, and particularly now. What throws us is fear and disconnection from our heart, disconnection from our purpose. Because when you're tuned in, you know your purpose, you understand the bigger picture. You know, especially as a woman with a message and a mission, right now you definitely have a key part to play. So resilience is not about being tough, it's about being anchored. And the most powerful anchor we have is our hearts. Now, I just want to dive into this because we've often heard the heart is the spiritual gateway to the soul, that the emphasis which has been given throughout, in scriptures to its power, but now it's science. Science. Studies have shown that heart coherence, when your heart and mind are in sync, reduces stress, sharpens clarity, boosts resilience. It's your internal compass, and it really guides you through the chaos with calm. And in my work, I've also developed some really powerful techniques, heart-centered techniques, to help women break through blocks and limitations and thrive in life and business. So today, I'd just like to share a heart-centered resilience framework with you and a brief exercise if we have time. So the first step of this heart-centered resilience is to breathe into the heart. When you're spiraling in stress or uncertainty, literally one deep breath in the heart can bring you back into alignment, especially with practice. It sounds simple, but it's potent. Now, we often hear about breathe, but breathing into the heart. The second step is releasing resistance. Now, uncertainty brings up loads of resistance, fears, doubts, old stories, And, we sometimes get tripped into that whole fight or flight, which I mentioned earlier. But your heart also holds the key to dissolving these blocks and to calming you. This is where my intuitive alignment method comes in. It helps you clear out fear and reconnect with your truth and move forward with alignment and take action. And the final step is rising with purpose, because resilience, I would argue, isn't just about bouncing back. It's actually about evolving forward. And when you lead from the heart, you become a magnet to opportunities and to what's unfolding. So let's just do something really simple right now. I just want to show you the power of this few simple breaths. I invite you to place your hand on your heart and just breathe deep into your heart space. And exhale. If it feels right, you can close your eyes. Again, just breathe deeply into your heart space. And exhale. And just imagine a soft golden light in your heart, expanding with each breath. Now I invite you just to tune into your heart's energy, its wisdom, its power, its love, and finally its peace. Take that last breath and breathe out. And just feel that powerful energy, that anchoring energy. This is your anchor. It's always here. And now you can gently open your eyes and just notice how different you feel, how more centered, how more calm, how more present. Imagine leading your life, your business, your leadership from this space every single day. Now, it seems simple, but these shifts make a big difference. And in the larger picture, as I've mentioned, of your leadership, your feminine leadership at this time, you are a huge part of the world evolving right now. So just as a takeaway, I'm just here to recap that resilience is not about pushing harder. It's about anchoring deeper. Your mind reacts, but your heart leads. And so when the world feels chaotic, your heart is the anchor that guides you home. You have the power within you.
Oh, I love that. Clodagh, what a way to really bring us around to the end of today's showcase, to feel more connected to our heart, which is really the main source of joy, creativity, peace, balance, which in this chaotic world, as you said, it can really be easily thrown off. I certainly experience moments where it's hard. It is hard knowing, especially that you have I guess you've been given a big mission and you have big responsibilities to carry it in this chaotic world. What practices help you to get really grounded?
I mean, I have a daily routine, really, which involves a lot of my practices. The main thing I think that has really, really impacted my life overall is just learning to stop and tune in. Mainly in those moments where it has become, there's a crossroads, there's a sort of decision to be made. And I have found that breathing and just, centering yourself and really asking for your heart's wisdom and learning to differentiate between that kind of expansion when you're being guided by your heart and that feeling of contraction when you're being not guided by your heart or guided by your mind and it doesn't feel right. It's learning that so that in those key moments, then you sometimes make a radical decision. And actually, if I look at my life, quite often it has come down to quite a radical decision. I've had moments of real adversity where I mentioned that just earlier, but other times as well where I've really made quite a radical decision on the premise of deciding to listen to my heart and not the mechanics of my mind, especially when it's in that slight fear state.
Yeah, absolutely. Claude, this was really powerful, and I hope we get to hear more about this at the Women Thrive Summit.
Well, you certainly will. I'm going to be talking about the quantum power of your heart, and specifically how you can use that to amplify your influence, your impact, and your income. So yeah, I'm going to be diving a bit more into the merging of the science and the ancient wisdom, because it's super, super interesting, and it really has moved things on from what a lot of people know about the heart already. And you mentioned quantum. We'll be discovering about how the quantum energy and heart activation are really the secret to unlocking your potential.
Yeah, amazing. Claude, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your powerful talk today. I really look forward to seeing you at the summit. How do people connect with you in the meantime?
You can connect with me at Clodagh Mickeljohn. I think the handle's there on Facebook or on Instagram. And if you're keen to sort of learn a bit more and join a community, I've got an Awakened Hearts community. I'll drop the link for that in the chat, and I'd love you to connect there if you've got a message you want to share, or just dive into the wisdom that's already within that community, that heart-led community.
Amazing. Do share the link, and of course we'll repost it to all of our platforms where this streamed. Thank you so much, Claude. Thank you for being our closing speaker for the morning showcase.
It's been great to be here. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Well, this wraps up today's event. Thank you all so much for tapping in today's event. And I hope you have enjoyed meeting some of our speakers from the Women Thrive Summit 2025. It has promised to be an amazing and outstanding event. As you've seen, there are speakers from various areas of life and business with various expertise. And I'm sure that you will have something that will inspire you, impact you, and perhaps transform you and your life during the summit. So what you need to do is head over to womenthrivesummit.com, click on a link to register, put your details in, and then choose the talks that you want to attend. So there is something for everyone. There are beautiful talks. This summit is our annual virtual summit, so you get to join it from anywhere in the world. It's free to attend, and there is an option for you to upgrade your ticket if you wanted more access to various things. So please go ahead and save that spot, and also share it with other people. This year, we're really wanting to reach more women who are from various parts of the world, who may not necessarily have access to live or in-person events, or may currently right now feel a little bit of disconnected from what's going on in the world. And this community brings together the most outstanding speakers and experts from all around the world. So make sure you do that. So I hope today's event was beautiful. Just a quick reminder and a plug for our Women Thrive Volume 4 book. If you have not received a copy yet, grab yourself the best-selling copy of the Women Thrive book. And if you have yourself a copy, I would love to see your review on Amazon. It would greatly be appreciated. Such a beautiful book with collection of stories. And of course, a lot of our authors and speakers also get featured in the magazine. So go ahead and grab yourself a copy. Digital copy is free online at Women Thrive Magazine, or a print copy that you can subscribe for annual or monthly subscription. We deliver these in print all around the world. Now, thank you to all of you for being here, hanging out with us. I appreciate you. Thanks to all of our outstanding speakers who have delivered a phenomenal delivery of our talks today. And of course, to all of our team who help us make this event happen, to our production team, marketing, all the women and all the individuals behind the scenes. Of course, we've got males too. My apologies. We are all inclusive event, and we love to support people from all around the world. So we are big champions for diversity, inclusion, and creating a safe space for everyone to thrive. This is Women Thrive. My name is Ramonda Jan. I'm the founder of Women Thrive Media, and this has been the last showcase, the morning showcase of the Women Thrive Unleashing the Power of Women Voices event by Women Thrive before the summit. And this evening, we've got a final showcase before the summit. So make sure you tap into another of these events later on today, where we will feature speakers from the United States. Okay, thank you all so much for being here today, and we look forward to seeing you on another summit or another event.